Alright, hello! So today we are going to talk about adding and subtracting rational numbers, or fractions in this case. So a couple of things, just a reminder that in order for you to add any two fractions or rational numbers, or 3 or 4, however many rational numbers that you have, you must have the same denominators. That's the only way you can add fractions. Okay, now whenever we're dealing with fractions, in this case I am talking about proper fractions, but proper fractions, they could be improper fractions as well. Actually, that's okay as long as the denominators are the same. All right, so if we don't have that, if we don't have the same denominators, then we have to go ahead and find what is called as the lowest common denominator, so that all the denominators are the same. Another name for the lowest common denominator is lowest common multiple is the same. All right, and then once we have that, then we can add the fraction. That means we just add the numerators, and that's it. Let's go through some examples. Okay, first one, 1/2 plus 1/2. We notice that the denominators, look at that, 2 and 2, they're the same. Okay, same denominators, right? So what we will do here, we simply write one of the denominators down because it is the same, and then we add the top, 1 plus 1, and in this case will be 2 over 2. You simplify, the answer will be 1. Simple as that. Okay, look at another example. 12/7 minus 3/7. I'm using subtraction. All right, same idea again. Notice that the denominators are the same. Now we can go ahead and basically write one of the denominators down, the common denominators, lowest common denominator, and then we just subtract 12 minus 3, and in this case will be 9 over 7. If we can simplify 9 over 7, great. If we can't, let it be. So in this case we can't. That's the final answer. So these two examples that I came up with, or we just did, these two examples were basically examples of having the fractions having the same denominators. So now let's look at what happens when we don't have the same denominators. All right, so look at 1/3 plus 1/2, very simple one, and notice that these two, they are not the same. Okay, not the same. And we can't just simply add them. We can't go ahead and say this is 1, I want to make sure, 1 plus 1 over 3 plus 2. No, you can't do that. Okay, you cannot do that. So that is not equal to that. All right, so we have to come up with, we must find the lowest common denominators. Okay, so lowest common denominator, so look at the 3 and 2. So we have 1/3 plus 1/2. So between the two, what number, the lowest, the smallest number that 3 and 2 will go into it evenly, all right, or the lowest common multiple. All right, so that number, lowest common denominator, is actually also a lowest common multiple. It has to be at least as small as the biggest of the two denominators. In this case, we can just simply say 3 times 2, 6 is the lowest common multiple, and 3 goes into it and 2 goes into it. All right, so what is the process? So the LCD is 6, lowest common denominator. So we need these denominators to be 6. What should we do to 3 to make it 6? We're going to multiply it by 2, but whatever we do to the denominator of the same fraction, we're going to do it to the numerator. And we will do the same to the other, but this time to get 6 out of 2, we have to multiply that by 3 and multiply the numerator of that fraction, the 1/2 fraction, by 3 as well. Notice now we have 1/6. So on top we have 2/6, sorry, that's 2/6 plus 3/6. Now you don't need to worry about simplifying it because right now we're just adding fractions. So in this case now we have same denominators. So now we're going to write one of them, obviously, and then 2 plus 3 is 5. And you're done. If you can simplify that fraction, you will, but other than that, that is it. Okay, let's go through this one. 5/12 minus, close the bracket, open the bracket, sorry, negative 11/8. Okay, so what is that? Notice that the denominators are not the same. Okay, so we need to make sure that the denominators are the same. What is the LCD of 12 and 8? Okay, so the smallest number, that 12 and 8 are the factors or going to evenly, and notice that that would be 24. It's basically multiples of the bigger fraction, bigger denominator. Okay, that's what that is. You start with that, the very first one. 12 times 2 is 24. As 8 goes into 24? Yes, it does. And if it does, right away that will be your lowest common denominator or lowest common multiple. Excellent. What should we do? Now, before doing that, let's polish these two negative signs. So I'm going to rewrite this 5/12 plus, because negative beside a negative, okay, that's a plus sign, and then 11/8. All right, now we're going to make the denominator is equal to 24. Multiply the denominators by, so the first one, 12 divided times by 2, 5 times by 2, 8. To get to 24, we have to multiply that by 3, and so as the numerator of this fraction. Great. And then the final answer in this case, so we'll have 24 as a denominator, and then we have 10 plus 33, and then 43 over 24. Can we simplify that? No, and you're done.